Sports is back, episode 4, Wins Above Replacement podcast, and this week we're going to do a quick rundown of the this weekend's NFL playoff action. I think that broken up into two slates, Saturday, Sunday, some interesting matchups. Dion, what are you thinking about that first Saturday matchup, man? We're just going to get right into it.
All right, yeah. Well, first of all, last weekend was amazing. I mean, 3 games Saturday and 3 games Sunday. You can't really top that, but the only way, we got some good matchups, so they're going to try, So like I said, some of the games did get a little carried away, but this weekend, now you're getting into the tough matchups. You're 1 and 2 seeds, and they're playing now. Finally, I want to see how they react. That's a lot of things I want to see this weekend. And first game, we got Packers and Rams in Lambeau. Man, I tell you what, this is battle of the number 1 offense versus the number 1 defense. This hasn't happened since the New England Patriots Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl. So this is gonna be great. This is gonna be fun to watch. See, what gives. Packers are coming in. They've won 6 straight, and they've only scored under 22 points one time this whole year. So kind of curious to see how that defense is gonna be. What they did get to Russell Wilson 5 times last week. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this one plays out. I mean, do the Rams have enough offense is my biggest concern, my biggest question going into this game. Do they have enough offense? I'm assuming Jared Goff's going to start. I haven't heard officially. I don't think they've announced officially whether Wolford's clear or what. Then again, like I said, it's the key is Green Bay, what they've done all year is they've built a big lead and then kind of went in cruise control afterwards, right? I was reading they've outscored their opponents 299 to 163 in the first half, with 219 to 92, 92 in the second quarter alone. But if you look at the fourth quarter, they've actually been outscored in the fourth quarter this year, 124 to 107. Like I said, and then you got the Rams who are 37-0 when they're leading at halftime, but will they have enough offense to get a lead? It's just curious to see. Like I said, has that week off going to be nice for Rodgers? As we know, he played week 17 against the Bears and looked amazing, looked great, so there are going to be fans out there. 6,500 fans will be allowed at the stadium this weekend. And then Aaron Donald's health. So it's curious to see how the fans going to be, help the Packers and is Aaron Donald going to be healthy? But like I said, my biggest question is, do the Rams can they do enough on offense to keep pace with them?
I think it's a good question. I mean, the thing is, I think when back to Aaron Donald, I mean, that neck injury, if he's not on the field every snap, and to be disruptive, especially on those passing downs, then they don't have to double team him and they could, start chipping other people and give Rodgers some more time. I think that's going to be key. Right. Is that pressure? Going back to that first half stat you had about outscoring people, I did read that they led the league with 7 first drive touchdowns. That's almost half the games that they got a quick lead on the first drive, getting a touchdown. So again, I think that Aaron Donald piece, 2 extra seconds is going to help. Adams get open, is going to help. Some of those other, Scantling get open, help the tight ends start moving around the field. So I think, Aaron Donald at full force, he's disruptive, but how much is he going to play and how effective is he going to be with that neck injury? Definitely a big deal. And then I do think Wolford did not get cleared to play with the head injury. I think it is going to be Goff. Right before we got on, I read that. So,
which gives them a better chance to win. If I mean, going back to last week, would they have won?
Yeah, I think to keep it, if it's always a 1-score game throughout and it's close, then the Rams got
definitely
got a chance. But the Packers' recipe for success has been get a lead and sit on it, and then run the ball and run the clock out. And so the Rams aren't really built for to come back from down too much. I think that Goff just doesn't have that ability this year. I don't know if it's just timing or what it is, but they're pretty good when they get a lead too. The Akers has really come around and started running the ball well, and Woods and Kupp, it's not the same explosive kind of offense as it once was, but it's an effective offense. And then you pair it up with that number 1 defense. And, I think it probably looks different in a neutral site or even, if the Rams are playing in LA. But,
Right.
again, Aaron Donald's health, he's the MVP of the league, probably on defense, but of that team for sure. As he goes, the pressure goes. And,
Definitely.
I'm, my gut says, a rested Packers team, how could you bet against Rodgers, right? I mean, he had an
Right.
historic year. His touchdown to interception ratio was like plus 42 or something ridiculous, never done before.
Yeah, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Yeah, so it's like who that's like playing on Joe Montana's Football on Genesis or something, man. You know what I mean? So it's just unimaginable that he would fold right now.
Right.
Even with a good defense, I don't see him putting his team in a position to lose.
Right.
And they're pretty healthy,
I mean, the weather, I guess, it could play into it. If you have a fumble, Rams are gonna have to score on defense. If you ask me, if they're gonna win this game, they're gonna have to score on defense. Period.
Special team something. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I've said it in our Week 17 preview, a few episodes back, that I felt like Rodgers and Mahomes are two guys in particular who kind of during the regular season, they're just so good that it just looks easy and they look kind of bored at times. And so now this is the time where it's go time now. Like you said, last thing you want is to, have a great season and fold, and I just can't see it either. Like I said, I feel like he's going to turn that switch on. And like you said, you jump to that early lead and you see it week in and week out, that boom, first drive touchdown, setting the tone right away, momentum. And that's they're getting the momentum on their time. Like you said, 7 times they had opening drive touchdown. That's 7 games they've had the momentum to start the game. And like I said, once you get the momentum, then you get the ball back, score again. Like I said, with how fast they can score. Like I said, so what do we got as the line and the over under on this game here?
The line is pretty much where I thought it would be. It's Packers by 6.5.
Okay.
And the over under is a little bit different, 45.5. So I wouldn't have assumed that it was going to be that low, especially with the Rams. Yeah. And like I said, the Packers haven't scored below 22 but once.
Right.
And so they can get some points up even against a good defense. But it feels low, but also it's an afternoon game at home. Weather could be a little bit of a factor, and Goff hasn't had to do much. So he hasn't had to push the ball downfield too much. He had a pretty good lead last game. So we'll see what happens. It could be one of those ones where it's a really more, action-packed 2.5, 3 quarters, and then a fourth quarter where it's just grinded out and see who can hold on to the win. So
yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, it's God, wouldn't you love to see this game with a healthy Jared Goff? Because at times there were times when they looked just as good as the Green Bay Packers. I mean, on Sunday Night Football, there were times they looked really, really good, and Aaron Donald healthy, and so yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit surprised by that line as well. I feel like Goff could still. I mean, they still got explosive players. I mean, Woods,
he can get it going.
Everett, and like Akers, man, holy cow, that guy rookie year and just unbelievable for a guy playing prime. Almost twice as many games as he's played in his career this season. And it's. So they're explosive. They can put up some points. Can they put it up enough and often enough? Well, that's what I meant. Yet to be seen. What's your prediction on this game? What you got?
I think it's going to go over, barely, but I think it's going to go a little over. I think that Green Bay is going to get the early lead, and then it's going to be a 3 to 4 point game, second half, early third quarter, and then they're gonna Green Bay is going to get like another insurance touchdown in the fourth to kind of put it away. So I think that they're going to cover that 6.5 and go with the over. It's probably a little bit more comfortable, more closer, too close for comfort in some ways for the Packers. But I think that late insurance touchdown to put it on the both the over and to cover that spread.
Yeah, and I'm with you. The over to me is easy. I feel like number one defense you wouldn't expect to give up 45 points, but they're going to score. Green Bay is going to score, and they can score quickly and easily. So, Rams are going to have no choice but to, basically get in a shootout almost, if you will. And so I think the over is going to be easy. I just don't know how healthy Goff is, if he's healthy enough with that thumb, with the timing with everybody and all that stuff. So I'm going to take the points as well, and I'm going to take the over. I feel like it's just gonna be, they're just too much. The Packers are just too much offense for a Rams team limping in, basically, so.
I will say this one thing, that if Donald does get pressure and there is no issues with the pass rush and Ramsey's on Adams all day long in his back pocket and there's no space for Adams to get free, it could be a little bit longer of a day. You could see some more, Jones running the ball,
True.
Setting up some play action. But that's the one thing that those two working together, we can see what they can do when they're healthy. They shut down DK Metcalf, and it's not like the Seattle line was
right.
a great job, but you can see, the regular season and during the postseason in the last game that, it's possible.
That's going to be a great matchup to watch, seeing Devontae Adams and Ramsey, and another thing real quick, we'd be remiss if we forgot to shout out, Aaron Donald, as great as he is and has been, when he's not there, and he said it himself, he trusts the guys that are there playing with him on his line mates. One guy, a former CSU Thunderwolf here in Pueblo, Colorado, a very own, Morgan Fox, 6 sacks on the year from a guy from a D2 college.
And to say that he's benefited from Donald's double teams for sure, but he definitely has a skill set where, you don't get to play next to Aaron Donald by being a slouch, because you have to work together in tandem. That front unit is, like I said, when they're right, it's going to be hard, so.
Absolutely. So,
let's go to game number 2. We got Buffalo and Baltimore, right?
Yeah, Buffalo and Baltimore, game number 2 tomorrow night, which will be the evening game, 6:00 our time here in Colorado. Now this one here, you got, Ravens and Bills. I'm excited for this one. 2 teams that have really been playing excellent football the last, down the stretch, last quarter of the season. 2 of your hottest teams, really. You had people on both sides saying, hey, I wouldn't want to play that team in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to play that team in the playoffs for both teams. They've both been outstanding. Both teams both Lamar and Josh Allen coming off their first playoff victory, right? So they got that monkey off their backs, and now it's about making more noise. Lamar coming off his, MVP season last year, maybe not as good as efficient throwing the ball this year, but still effective, and especially down the stretch. Allen he's just corrected a lot of those mistakes that he was making early on in his career and last year, and just playing lights out.
There probably was
Baltimore. Go ahead.
There were probably 3 plays in that Baltimore game that only Lamar makes. You know what I mean? In the whole NFL, and some of those runs were just, it was perfect timing. Harbaugh and the offensive coordinator and Lamar were all on the same page. But just to put that out there, that they don't win that game if it's any other quarterback, I don't think, in the NFL, because they got down early, and it was a special kind of play calling and just a good in sync situation with that whole comeback.
And like I said, they go down 10-0 early, and I'm watching the game and I'm saying, wow, Tennessee came to play today. Baltimore looked shook, but they didn't blink, right? They came out and it was like nothing. Next drive they come. They've been in playoff mode basically since early December.
For sure.
They've had to win 5-6 straight. They were 6-5. They just lost to Pittsburgh with their COVID team, their the practice squad guys. So they lost that game to Pittsburgh, and ever since that loss, they were basically in playoff mode since that time. So I was impressed with the way they didn't blink at all, because I was like, man, this can get ugly fast here if Tannehill and Henry start pouring it on. Their offense it's a run. They're going to run. And so my concern is Buffalo's defense in the years past, when Allen was a rookie and that was their strength. They were a strong defensive team, but they're not as good they're not as stout as they have been in the past couple of years. They're allowing 118. They only allowed 118 yards rushing last year to the Ravens last year, but they've allowed 150 yards rushing this year 5 times. So you're talking, you got 3 backs. First time in NFL history, you have 3 backs that rushed for 700 yards each for the Ravens. With Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, and Gus Edwards. I was expecting Ingram to be in there, but Edwards is solid too. Kind of different backs. So yeah,
Indy really ran all over him last week too. There was times when when Hines and they was just all over the place. I mean, the backup
They
and
were.
the primary back was just got whatever they wanted. Taylor was just everywhere. So,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, when Lamar runs, it's an extra blocker. You know what I mean? So,
It is.
you know, it's a
It
hat on
is.
a hat, and then you got Lamar running
Yep.
free. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I said, and you got two coaches here in Harbaugh and McDermott, both from the Andy Reid coaching tree, right?
Yep.
So these guys know each other well. This one's gonna be a fun one. I'm curious to see. I think either of these teams can really give Kansas City a run for its money. Now, we'll get to Kansas City here in a minute here in their game, but and these were the two teams that Kansas City really wanted to avoid as much as they could, especially in the second round, and they were lucky enough to let them two teams play each other, and that way they only get one of them. So yeah, it worked out pretty good for the Chiefs as far as that. Them looking forward and whatnot, but yeah, these two teams, either one of them, I feel like can give Kansas City a run for their money in different ways, So, what are you looking at in this game? What are you thinking? What do we got as far as the line and
the line is looking like currently it's going to be Bills by 2.5, and then the over under is 49, which I think is probably kind of fair for a running team being in the mix because they have so much possession. We'll get to predictions here in a minute, but one thing that I really, the Ravens last year, they learned from that loss. You could tell, halfway through the season, they kind of said, "Hey, we don't want to go through that again. So we better buckle down and do this. Start putting some effort forth in the right places. And if nothing's owed to us, we're gonna have to grind some of these wins out." I don't know that the Bills had that moment yet, where they had to get waking up. So it feels like this year's Bills is last year's Ravens, to where I think you got to go through a little bit of some growing pains to take that next step. And I don't know that personally, I don't think they can do it with the running team. The Bills are explosive, but seeing what the Ravens did to Henry last week, making him one-dimensional and then making Tannehill beat him, I think they have enough with Peters and that defensive backfield that they can, limit Diggs a little bit and then, make him a little bit more one-dimensional, sit on the ball, try to grind out a couple of long drives, and have Lamar. The thing is, and I, as a Patriots fan, I've watched the Lamar and the Ravens beat the Patriots a couple of times, and third and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 3, it doesn't matter what it is. You always feel like they're going to get a third down conversion every single drive, and 4th and 1, you might as well just give it to them. So that's the frustrating thing, is you can play 2 to 3 downs of really good defense, and then all of a sudden it's 3rd and 3, and then Lamar gets 6, and then you do it again. You play 2 really good downs of defense, and then it's 3rd and 4, and then they pick up another one. And Brown got open last week much more easier than I thought he was going to get open. Hollywood was running around and making a couple of plays when they needed him. Andrews was quiet last week, so who knows if he's going to come back this week and be a little bit more of a factor. But I can't help but feel, like I said, the Bills have to take that next step in the growing pains department. I think they're going to have to, even though they're home, this is going to be something that maybe set them up for more success in the next year or two. But I just think it's a little early on the Bills train. I think that there's that sour pill still in the Ravens' gut, and they're going to go out there and try to get on the lead, sit on the ball, and grind out a win. And that's how I see it going. But
I love it. Honestly, that's an excellent point. I mean, it's true. They went through that last year. That they were set up to make a run and after the season Lamar had, and so they had to go through that to feel that and learn from it. And like you said, it's been kind of smooth sailing for the Bills this year in a lot of ways. Big games they had big games this year. You had Pittsburgh game, you had Miami at the end of the year. Just these big games that they kind of just things went their way and they dominated, and so like you said, they haven't had that tough moment. They are going to be without Moss this weekend, Zach Moss, so it's going to be Yeldon and Singletary. But like you said, Baltimore will try to make you one-dimensional, Buffalo almost makes themselves one-dimensional because
they
they just realized what they got in Allen, and he, hey, he's a young gunslinger and wants to throw the ball. And like you said, we keep waiting and waiting and waiting for that Josh Allen mistake to come back and cost them. Almost did last week. Like I said, everything is magnified in the playoffs, intensified. And so could this be that game that, hey, the pressure's on them. Baltimore's coming in with, hey, we've been here before, been there, done that. We don't have the pressure on us. We're not at home. We're not the favorite here. And so, yeah, it could be, this is going to be a good one, man. I mean, I'm excited to see how this one goes.
I think in recent history too, I think that the Bills, if you want to talk about some heartache, that Arizona game with Kyler Murray, right. He's a running quarterback, and I think that, again, it wasn't Hail Mary, but they were still in position to be a one-score game to steal that game from Buffalo.
That's true.
And I think that, you watch a little bit of that Arizona Bills tape, you improve on some of the things they saw with the running quarterback and the mobile quarterback there. And
that is
Lamar, Murray isn't Lamar yet. He may never be, because he's just not. He's an elusive runner, but he's not a tough, get you some tough yards runner like Lamar is.
Absolutely.
And then again, you add that extra motivation of like, I need to prove that my MVP wasn't a fluke. And it was an interesting point you brought back when how they've been in playoff mode. The last 6 games were probably more impressive to me than anything that Lamar did last year during the regular season.
I agree.
I think that his these last 6 games, you could have given him the MVP over anybody for the last 6 games.
He has been. He's been
impressive.
On.
Yeah.
Even his accuracy and stuff. I mean, there was questions about that early on. These last 6 games, he's been, on point. Like, I haven't seen a whole lot of bad. He had that bad throw. We had the interception, and he admitted that was. He don't know why he threw that one again last week, But yeah, he's been impressive, and so there's just, this game can go a number of different ways, and. It's just going to be fun to watch. I have been just so disappointed in Buffalo's defense just because of how good they have been in the past. I feel like I don't know what's wrong this year. I mean, they still got Tre'Davious White and Poyer in the back, defensive backfield stuff. I just don't understand what's wrong, why they're.
It feels like even against Phillip Rivers, who's a statue back there wasn't a lot of pressure. There was not a lot of pressure up front.
They have that much turnover to where they're just. I just don't understand.
Ever since Kyle Williams left, probably, or whatever. They haven't really had. Mario Williams was there for a little bit, and that's years ago. I can't even think of the next edge rusher that I would think of in the Buffalo Bills uniform that really caused havoc on anybody.
Right, exactly.
So, maybe something to look at in the future as far as plugging in a free agent or some draft picks. But, I will say, I do think the Ravens are going to pull this out. I think Josh Allen's going to take a step back. We may see some mistakes, but I will say I would not be surprised if the Bills got off to a really big lead with some really big plays, caught the secondary slipping, and all of a sudden they're up 14-3, and then the Ravens got to play catch up, and it's hard with the running team to play catch up. So, I could see that scenario happening. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Bills I think the Ravens are going to be much more prepared because they've had that disappointment and they don't want to do it again. You get up for a road game a little bit different than you do a home game. And I do think the Ravens are going to pull it out. They're going to cover the 2.5. And I think it probably is going to be under because it's going to be a Ravens type of game. And that's just.
So you're going to take the points.
No, I think they're going to cover. I think they're going to win by more than.
Okay, so okay, I got you.
I think they'll cover the 2, and then I think it's going to be under the 49. So.
Okay. Me on the other hand, and like I said, I'll be the first to admit this could be all heart talking here. They're not allowing me to go down that path that I don't want to go. I don't want to go down. But I feel like the Bills are going to do almost exactly like you said. They're going to jump to an early lead, and it's just going to be too much. It's going to be too hard for Lamar to he's going to have to throw more than he likes to and he wants to. And that's just not the type of game they want to play. And like I said, that Buffalo crowd is going to be wild. They're one step away from the AFC Championship game. 2.5, I'll take that easily. Like I said, I feel like they're going to win anyway. So I feel like it's going to be at least by a field goal.
So you're going to do Bills outright or Bills in the points?
I'm going to take the Bills in the points.
Okay.
Yeah. And the over under, that one's touchy. That one's where I'm kind of nervous. But if I am going to take the Bills, I think I'm going to go ahead and take the over as well, because like I said, I think it's going to get into score a lot of points. Both sides are going to, I don't think the Bills are going to win a close, low scoring game. So I'll take the over. I'll take the Bills, the points, and the over. So
now that makes sense. Yeah, if you're going to play the Bills, then they're going to mean they're going to score. So
exactly.
I think that real quick, we're going to run through the Chiefs and Browns. We won't touch too much on the Browns, because I know there still may be a little fresh coming. Seeing the background there and knowing you my whole life.
There's no holes in the walls now, so we don't need to add.
We're good. Yeah, everything's been patched up. Everybody's safe. Only your knuckles are good, so we're all right.
Good.
But one interesting thing is that I think the Chiefs are going to be rusty, but I also just think they just have too much firepower once they knock that rust off.
Agree.
And I don't know that the Browns can hang on the road in Kansas City.
Right.
In some ways, it feels like the Browns beating their division rivals in the first round of the playoffs was already their Super Bowl, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm feeling a letdown. I don't know that it gets out of hand, but I also think that the Chiefs win in double figures, and the Browns just never get going. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm with you. First I want to just say, let's just be honest. The Steelers really never, even at 11-0, weren't what they should have been, what everybody thought they were. So, but hey, hats off to the Browns. They came in. It was huge to get that. They haven't won in Pittsburgh since I can't even remember when. And first playoff win since 2002. Was it 2002 or 2005?
Yeah, it was Belichick. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're happy with that. That's a good stepping stone, something to build off of and look into next year to go win that division. But I just don't. The only way they're going to win is they're going to have to jump on the Chiefs early and just. You're going to have to feed Hunt and Chubb all day and just keep him off the field. But regardless, the Chiefs are just too good. What's their record in the last 2 years? Like 30-2 or something like that.
Yeah, I think Andy Reid, I don't think is going to get outplayed by the Browns. I just don't
exactly.
See it, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I do think that the Browns will try to do a little ball control, try to keep the clock and maintain the clock and keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. But I just don't. I see them getting field goals, and I see the Chiefs getting touchdowns, and I think that's just going to be the game plan for the Chiefs to get up. And I think we didn't watch the game together, but we could watch the game together. We have a group chat going with a couple friends, and we was all talking last year when the Texans got out to that 17-0 lead or whatever it was, 21-point lead, and it was a wrap, right? We were just laughing and Mahomes, but then all of a sudden it was like, and then it was just an embarrassing loss. I'm surprised O'Brien lasted past that loss. Actually, he should have been fired the next day. But,
absolutely.
I don't see that scenario happening again. Honestly,
they're just too explosive. They just got, and I just don't. They're just. I can recall this year watching the game with the Chiefs and Broncos, and I tell you, Broncos just scored, and there was 2 minutes left in the quarter. I went and grabbed something to drink real quick. I came back. I was literally gone, not even 20 seconds, and I come back, and they're already in at the 20-yard line inside the red zone, and I'm like, how did they get down there that fast? It's just unbelievable, the speed that they have. Mahomes just continues to baffle me just how good he is. And I just don't see it. There's, like you said, you hit it perfectly. Browns are going to score field goals and the Chiefs are going to score touchdowns. And that's going to be the biggest difference, is in inability to put the ball in the end zone.
One thing I hate about the Chiefs, honestly, is, I admire it because I want to be that team. And in the past, the Patriots were that team. But if I'm any team, I love how they steal the quarter from you at the end of the game. Every quarter, if they get the ball, they're going to score either 3 points or 7 points with a minute left, with 30 seconds left, with a minute and a half left. If they get the ball last, they're scoring, and they just take the wind out of you. So the spread is 10. So the Chiefs are 10-point favorites, and the over/under is 57. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs to win by over 10 to cover that 10, and I'm going to take the over too, because I think they're just going to pour it on once they get going and get comfortable, and then just smooth sailing to the victory. So,
and I'm with you. They're going to cover easily, and it's just going to get to a point where Browns are going to have to they're going to have no choice but to get away from their game plan of running the ball like they want and keep the ball in Mahomes' hands. Even if they do go down and score, he's going to go down and score right back. It's just they're not going to get close enough. But I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover. and I'm going to take the over as well. So
we have our last game on Sunday, the 2:00 game here, 4:40 Eastern. But and this is one that's most interesting. This is the one I think is really a toss-up. It's kind of a pick 'em.
it is.
You know, we got two of the old veterans in the league right now going at quarterback, Tom Brady and Drew Brees. Rubber match. They've already played twice. You know, they have, you know, home victory. I mean, it's just the Saints to me are the team that has to finish, because I think that they have to just you know, they have to step on the Buccaneers early. Don't give them any hope, because
Absolutely.
you know, you don't want Brady to creep back in, because you know,
Right.
Brady plus some weapons, I don't know that any lead is safe, you know. So you want to get up and you want to assert some dominance on the defensive end. You want Kamara to be running. You want, you know, Breeze to be hitting them short passes, Cooks in the flat. You want, you know, Thomas to get going. You want some of those other receivers to get going a little bit, feed them a little bit. But and I think that we talked about Lamar, you know, they're going to do the same thing with Hill, right? I mean, a 3rd and 2, put in Taysom, you know, 4th and 1, and they're in the Bucs territory, put them in. Why not extend that drive? Sean Payton's aggressive. We already know that.
Yep.
And he don't want to give, you know, he don't want to give, again, Brady to have any confidence, but he don't want to give anybody in the division to get any confidence for the future either. So I can't think that the Saints would let the Bucs stick around. If the Saints lose, it's because they get blown out. I mean, that's just going to be it.
Right.
I don't know that the Bucs win a close game. I don't know.
You know, and this game to me is, man, the Saints have just been hit with such bad luck all year. You know, we still, I mean, last week we were finally getting everybody back, right? But then you got Kamara coming off COVID, Mike Thomas coming off his injury, Breeze coming off his injury. So they're finally all together, but the health, how healthy are they? And the thing is I hate to see that they just missed that window, you know, because you go back to last year, a couple of years, like, man, that team was just they were like the Chiefs, you know, the team that can put up points like crazy, and you just haven't seen that lately. You know, it looked pretty easy last week against the Bears, but come on, I mean, you're talking about Mitch Trubisky and the Bears. So, you know, they did handle them pretty easily. The score was a little closer than maybe it should have been, but I just don't know if they have that explosiveness no more. I feel like the only way is you got to go in there and you got to frustrate Brady. You have to. Their defense is solid, and so, you know, if he gets in some quick, you know, 3 and outs, he starts getting a little frustrated. But man, that guy is so hard to, you know, to frustrate and flap him. You know, you can't. And but we did see it a few times this year, and it was early in the year. You see some frustration, and but like I said, that could go one of two ways. You can have where it's a horrible game for him, and he's just on the sidelines pissed, or else you can have it like that Atlanta Falcons game where he comes back and throws up 30 points in you and a half, and you have no answer. You know, so they just have so many weapons, the Buccaneers. I just feel so bad. Like I said, I mean, I am glad that Breeze got his ring. Peyton, you know, he got his ring. Is this going to be Peyton's last year or Breeze's last year? They're saying so. We don't know. I guess we'll find out. But you know, it's definitely a situation where I just feel like they just missed that window, man, for that second ring, and it hurts me, man, because I really don't mind the Saints at all, you know, and Buccaneers just too many weapons with Evans, with Godwin, with AB, with Gronk, with, you know, Ronald Jones if he doesn't hurt himself, stretch him before the game, you know, and if anything, he won't hurt the Buccaneers as much as he'll hurt us fantasy players like he did last week. So, but
you know, Fournette, he's a decent fill-in. You know what I mean? He's going to get the job done. He's not going to break a play, but he ain't going to hurt you. The Saints are 3-point favorites at home, and then the over/under is 52. So I think the Saints win by more than a field goal, and I think that the over is in play. Okay, so you're going against your boy, your hero. You're okay. I'm just going. I mean, I really, it's a pick 'em, but I'm going to go home team. It is. And I'm just that's and then also the rubber match pieces. It's hard, you know, to play a team 3 times. It's hard. Well, they beat them twice already. The Saints beat them twice. It's hard to beat them 3 times. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why, man. That's a heck of a story there. Beat Tom Brady 3 times in a year. And then you might lose, and then lose to Aaron Rodgers probably next week. Yeah, that's true. You know, but like I said, I mean, I'd be curious. I mean,
Can you think of anybody that's beaten Brady twice or 3 times in a year?
I think Mark Sanchez did twice, once in the playoffs, and then once in the regular season, and that's to say Mark Sanchez. You know, I mean, that's gross.
So twice is
yeah,
you
twice,
can remember.
yeah.
But 3 times, that might be it, you know. So I don't know. I just can't see it. Brady's probably been up all night, and I mean, I just do not see Brady going down. In you know, I just don't see him going down. So I'm gonna take the points. And what was the over under you said?
52.
I gotta take the over on that too. I think the Saints are healthy enough to where they can throw up some points too. But you know, I mean, these last few weeks, Brady and the Bucs looked solid, and so I feel like they're gonna put up, you know, 35, 37, or somewhere around that, maybe even 40. So I feel like that's easy for me. I'm taking the Bucs. I got the Bucs in this one.
All right, we're gonna disagree on it, and then we're gonna watch it and see what happens. But
that's right.
That brings us to the end of the episode. We've been going for a minute here, and we're gonna wrap it up with thanks to everybody for tuning in, for listening, and subscribe, share our channel, find us on Instagram. I'll put the links in the description, and we'll talk to everybody later. All right.
Appreciate it, everybody.